Hi, everybody. Very good morning to you from Germany. Surprise, surprise. Today we are having a very important topic, something that people don't talk very often. A couple of times maybe, but not as often as they should talk about it. And that's the actual social life living in Europe. Isolation, loneliness, just being all to yourself. Today we have a very special guest with us, Manuela. But before she go on, I would just like my co-host Michael, who's joining us from Nigeria, to give us a rundown of what we are going to be experiencing today, and then we pick it up from there. Michael.
Okay, a very good morning to you, everyone. Thank you so much, Emmanuella, for joining us today. It's a pleasure having you. Yeah, Michael, it will interest you to know, talking about isolation and feeling of loneliness, of the feeling alone in Europe, in Africa. Just the news is making the rounds on social media presently. South Africa were asking other foreigners to leave their public hospitals. They walk
Oh,
from
really?
hospital to hospital and say, if you are not a South African, please get off your sick bed and leave our hospital. Because our constitution demands that if you're not a South African, you should use private hospital facilities and not a public hospital. So, doctors, please, those who need to revive, be fast about it, discharge them, let them go and help themselves and find other places to get their medical attention. We are talking about Africa here. So, and this is what people so far feeling lonely, feeling isolated abroad. It has a lot of aspects, and I'm happy that we have Emmanuella with us here today, a counselor who must have been experiencing all of these things to speak to us from the perspective of somebody who is directly involved in all of these things. So, thank you so much. And that is all for now, Michael. Over to you.
So we're going to give Manila 1 second so she can share the link to this event across, because so many people are actually waiting right now to watch this. It's taking us half an hour to put it together, unfortunately. But I can promise you that if you stick around and watch this, that you're gonna learn a lot, and it's gonna be really eye-opening.
Excuse me for a minute. I need to fix something quickly. I'll be back.
Okay. And this news about South Africa is crazy. I can't really believe it. But anyways, this wouldn't be the first time it's happening. So here we are again. Okay, so we're gonna be back on track in a moment. Michael, before Emmanuela comes back, could you tell us a bit more about the situation in South Africa? Like, is this the first time something like this is happening? And
No, no,
why
no,
did,
no, no.
yeah, go on.
Okay, there's been history of xenophobic attacks in South Africa, where other African from other migrants from other parts of Africa are being treated very unfairly. And they're like saying, leave our country. Because there was a particular case of one migrant who said he was a refugee. They said, okay, which country are you from? He mentioned a country, I forgot the name. And I said, no, there are other countries closer to you. How did you jump all of them to South Africa? Please get out of our hospital. And then he was walked out of the hospital. It was just a very pathetic sight, I tell you, Michael.
Who was doing that exactly? The hospital
Uh,
staff or
it's a group of persons who just came up like I think they call themselves is it patriots like yes people who felt like they are true sons of and daughters of South Africa who are doing the country proud. We understand that the government is against this, but again, when you fix certain clauses in your constitution, you create room for stuff like this because the guy was quoting part of the South Africa constitution that stipulates that if you're not a citizen of South Africa, you should not be found using their public hospitals. And then riding on that, he was making a request that for anybody who must be accepted into the hospital, he must have the South African citizenship identification number. That should be a number one criteria for admission into the hospital.
yeah.
And so every other person who is not a South African, once you are just stabilized, in case, let me say if your case is very critical, they advise that they should be stabilized first at least, but immediately they
Okay.
are stabilized, they should be discharged to other private hospitals. And even medications should not be given to them. They have to go and access it from private pharmacies. That is coming from South Africa.
Anyways, let's come back to Europe and what's happening in Europe. Emmanuel, are you back?
Back fully.
Okay, great. So Before we proceed, Manuela, we would like you to briefly introduce yourself to all our audience that are watching us across our various media platforms so they get to know you, and then we dive into the topic of today.
Thank you, Michael. So, my name is Emmanuella. I live in Germany. I'm from Cameroon. So, what more do you want to know? What else?
I mean, okay, I guess we're going to go into the details more as we progress.
Thank you.
Um, so the flow of this conversation, as always, is my colleague from Nigeria is always taking the lead regarding um, the key points for us to touch on. And as you can imagine, Michael is based in Nigeria and I am based in Germany. And our objective here is to see that we can talk about these matters that affect expats, migrants, foreigners in Germany, that we can talk about it from multiple perspectives. Um, I think isolation abroad is something that people experience a lot. And sadly, there have been cases where people are just so quiet that it was very detrimental. Uh, heard about cases where people took their life, and when you dig down, it just all goes back to being isolated and not having anyone to talk to about it. Um, but before we proceed, I would just like to hear from my co-host Michael. What have you heard about loneliness, isolation when it comes to people living abroad? Let's hear from you first. What have you heard?
Yeah. Yeah, what I've heard is that we have maybe you see most of you guys over there in Europe coming back home to come and get married and return back. Some of you still have your wives here back here in Africa that you have no, you're not coming to collect. Some come like annually, some come biannually, and all of that. So and we're like wondering, why are you coming back to get married from back here in Africa? I don't know women in Europe.
Okay, so this one is an interesting matter. Emmanuela, what do you say?
So, what Echo Michael is saying is like you guys are coming back to take the few women they have. You were coming together.
There are lots of women, actually, not few.
Yes, so actually, what Micah just said, this is very interesting because this actually is just, I mean, this is not even the direction I was even thinking I would start from, but this is very good because this is like a good start. It's one of the reasons why we even want to talk about the loneliness back home or
Yeah,
back in the diaspora, sorry. So, like Michael said, they're wondering why are people in Cameroon, we call them bushfaller, why are they coming back home to get married? Are they not women in Europe? And
yeah,
what I want to tell you, this is what many women are also, I mean, we have also been asking ourselves. We've been asking ourselves, we're in Europe, what's happening? You're dating us, and when it's time to get married, you go back home to get a wife. So, what's happening?
yeah,
So this is just to let you know that you're right. This is one of the reasons why women, I may talking from the side of a woman, I'm not saying men are not also going through their own loneliness or being alone. From the angle of a woman, this is one of the reasons why we think we don't easily get our brothers back home to get married. Because they leave us here and they go back home to get a wife. And very recently, I think I made a post in this direction, and I said, this is how I tackled the situation. When I asked, I don't understand, when you date women here, what's the point behind going back home to get a wife? Is it that you think the women here are just worth dating and not marriage material? Do you think the women back home are not that they're not exposed yet? Maybe it's an opportunity to get somebody you think is not exposed. Because what's the point of you leaving somebody you know here to tell your family back home to look for you a wife that you might not know as much as you know the person here? So it's a point and it's a worry actually.
Okay. Now, okay. So, what do you think, in your own opinion, what do you think is responsible for this? Now, when it comes to dating, they can date the ladies in Europe, but when it comes to now making that final decision, then I refer back home in Africa and say, tell their parents and brother, please get me a wife. And sometimes, so what do you think? Is it a matter of maybe the cultural confusion, if I may use that word, because there's this issue of, okay, you know what, there are levels of acquaintances, there are levels of in a relationship, there's the acquaintance level and then the intimacy level, because you can be with somebody for 10 years and you still don't know much about the person. You are just managing it, let me say, mechanically like that. So could it be a matter of both of you, those of you guys in Europe, not being able to open up to each other, maybe because of one or two issues, or because it seems that there is an issue of trust gap. There's this trust gap. That could be the reason why they come back home to pick. What do you think, your assessment and as an experiencer, based on your experience in your field?
Okay, so thank you for this question, Michael. In as much as I believe there are so many reasons, let me first concentrate on maybe just about 3 reasons. And I will put them in terms of cultural reasons, upbringing, and also family dependence. And this is what I mean by cultural. So many people still believe for me to get somebody a good wife, I need to get back to my cultural background. I need to go back to my village. And that's exactly why this is not even just limited to diaspora going back to Africa to get a wife. If you look at it back in our different countries, somebody will leave Lagos to go back to the village and get a wife.
Yeah.
Yes, you want to leave the city to go back to the village to get a wife or tell your family. So I look at it from that direction. The belief that it has to be somebody from your cultural background, somebody who knows about your culture. The second one, which is about upbringing, is that I believe we're brought up to think that, or men were brought up to think that a good woman is the one who is not so exposed. A wife material is, there's a picture that has been painted about a wife material. And if we go back to even our African movies, you see how much this is portrayed. When a man is at the age, when you get to this age of getting married, you start getting your family telling you, I want to look for you a good wife in the village. I want to look for you a good wife from this family. It's not about the fact that they know a good wife that much. It's about their mindset about who a good wife is supposed to be. And to them, is somebody who is not supposed to be so exposed. And that's why when you see a man maybe bringing his girlfriend that he has been dating for so many years from the city, there are so many questions coming from the family. Isn't she so exposed? Isn't she? Because there's always this aspect of, will she even submit to you as a man? So because of this upbringing, you realize that so many men want to fall back to get a wife because they fear what the unknown might be. It's, an upbringing is something that we don't easily take it away like that. It sticks. So no matter how you grow, you're dating women in the city, you still have this at the background or at the back of your mind. And the third reason, I talk about family influence. For men who actually grew up in families that are so influential in their lives, or men who really depend on their mothers in particular, they will always want to listen. The mothers will always tell them, whatever is happening, I have a girl here I've kept for you. She's a very nice girl. And you know how mothers can be very convincing, especially to their sons. So you will see a man, you're dating a man here in the diaspora.
We can't hear you again.
This woman is being groomed. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, so like I was saying, you'll be dating a man here, and he has a wife back in Cameroon. He has a wife back in Nigeria that his family is actually grooming for. And you have no idea. And because he trusts his family that much, he trusts their judgment, he wants to lean back to them. So I will end with these 3 reasons, but I know there are so many reasons why.
Okay, so
controversial reasons.
Okay, yeah, you've done so well with it. Now, from what you've said so far, I could also, there is this issue of trust. Some I could also say maybe the men leave Africa, but Africa refused to leave them because even after traveling to Europe, there are still too much African. So it's as if the ladies get integrated more quickly than the men because the men are in Europe, Yeah, but their minds are still in Africa. If from what you've said, so they leave Africa, but Africa refuses to leave them. Okay, so there's also this issue of trust. There's this trust gap because maybe you date somebody in Europe, he has a family already here, and all of that. And there's also this question of exposure and somebody that they can have some level of control over. Let me say to manage or I don't know what was to use again. So now, what exactly is wrong with exposure? Is it about the inability of the women to manage this technicality, or is it about the inability of the men to accept the reality?
Yeah, I mean, I think every reason you've given could be seen as one of the reasons. You know, there's this, I believe. Let me start with the women. Some women also have the inability. Can you hear me? Please let me know if you can hear me.
Yeah, can hear you.
Okay. So from the side of the women, I also believe there are some women are also unable to manage exposure because I also believe they take it to extremes. And when they take it to extremes, I think there's a child in the background. Um, somebody in the background, could you please mute?
To my end, he's gone.
Oh, okay.
Go on,
Okay,
please.
so yes, so talking from the side of the women, like I was saying, some of them are really unable to manage this exposure. Like
Okay.
learn a lot, but now to manage it and know your boundaries and know your limits is also a problem to some women. And I also
Yeah.
think some of these men have also had a bad experiences with some of these women in terms of I know my right. We know this popular saying of I know my right, right? So people really get it out of context and out of boundary. There's also the side where you mentioned that men not wanting also to accept the reality. Like I said, our upbringing matters a lot. And we have been brought up to look at women in a particular direction. When I keep talking about we, it's because there's a very thin line between African countries and African cultures. So we get angry when they say Africa is a country, but we also accept sometimes that our cultures overlap a lot. The things happening in Nigeria and definitely hear them happening in Cameroon, here happening in Kenya, happening, across, and sometimes we laugh about those things. So this is also connected with our upbringing. And I believe there's a way men have been groomed to look at women. And I said this in the beginning. They think a good woman is a woman who is not exposed, a good woman is a woman who doesn't talk that much. Some even believe a good woman is a woman who is not married. And this discussion is going on social media these days. They have an issue with educated women, right? So with this mindset and this fear, there are so many men who even fear trying it from the beginning. They don't even want to try, they don't want to bear the risk. Why would I take a woman who is so educated and so informed and so exposed? Because she will not give me the right as a man, or she will not submit to me. And let me end this your question with this. This morning, it was a coincidence, and it is not as if I was looking for it. On social media, I came across a post by a man, and he said how to humble a woman, and it was a threat. Following what he was saying, he said some things that I was like, wow. He said, make sure you're 10 times more educated and more informed than her. Make sure you're superior to her. Make sure you never give her more attention than you give yourself. Make sure. There was a comment there that really also moved me. A man who said, there's no one way to a relationship. You deal with your relationship, I deal with mine. I don't understand what you mean by how to humble a woman. Why are you trying to humble a woman? So you get, this is just to let you know that this is the mindset. So either they fear to take this risk, or even when they take this risk, They are now thinking of how to humble this educated woman or this informed woman. So it seems marriage is becoming a war. So it's a cool war somewhere.
Okay.
Michael, Jonathan,
I think, yeah, for whatever reason, we just went deep into the whole marital concept and all, which for sure is also part of what's still it's within the whole isolation thing and loneliness in Europe. Um, Maybe let's bring it back a bit to the main focus for today.
Yeah.
Um, when you look around, we've had also other topics that kind of touched on this, like making friends here in Europe, staying in your lane, mingling and stuff like that. Um, but very deep, it's like when people try to address the issues that foreigners face abroad. In most cases, I don't see important aspects like this that has to do with the social welfare of the people and also psychological welfare coming up. And that is the aspect of isolation because I think you know this more than I do, Manuela. We are social beings first and foremost, and one of the essence of life is connecting with other people. You know, and, but then you find out that a lot of foreigners are actually very lonely abroad. Do you think that's the case? Have you experienced it? Have you heard something around that? What do you think when it comes to the loneliness of foreigners abroad?
Yes, okay, so yeah, Martha, you're very right about this loneliness abroad because it's a very, very alarming situation. And sometimes we don't even notice. And I will stand by agree with you that so many people come here and they find themselves being lonely.
Yeah.
And I had some points in mind today before I joined the show. And the points were the first thing that has to do with is expectations versus reality.
Always the case.
Yes. So you leave home, you come into the diaspora, and your expectations are completely different. But when you get here, what you see is something completely different. From the moment you land at the airport, you start minding your business because every other person minds their business.
100%.
Yes. From the moment you land at the airport, I say you're still learning. You start minding your business. And let me use two scenarios to let you understand. When I get to Cameroon and I land at the airport, the reception is completely different. They don't even need to come to you. Even from afar, you can feel the aura. You can feel another atmosphere. You can even hear people asking you from afar, welcome, sister.
Mm-hmm.
You need help. So they notice that somebody came in. And this, it doesn't have to be a foreigner, because sometimes you think it has to be somebody with a white skin, for example, for them to know this is a foreigner. It just has to be somebody who is coming in to the country at that moment. I bring it now to Germany. When I land and my passport has been checked, it is nobody's business. If you don't know the exit, you don't know where you're going to, the most you can do is ask somebody.
Yeah.
How do I get out? And they'll quickly tell you, because at that moment, maybe somebody is rushing to catch a bus, catch a train, or do something, check their bags and go. So your mindset starts from there already. You start seeing this fight for yourself. Now, when you get into wherever you're going to, you get to this point, this session, cultural differences, or what I would call culture shock, steps in now too. And this is it. Back home, we don't close doors. I don't know about Nigeria, but I grew up in Cameroon where closing your door means you're not at home. Once you're at home, your door is open. Even when you get somebody coming to knock, if your door is closed, your first question is always like, so you guys closed your door, what's happening? Why are you people sitting in the dark? Why are you people inside?
Yeah.
So you come with that mindset and you think that's how it's going to happen in Europe because you've never been there before.
Yeah.
Then unfortunately for you, you reach Germany and every other person's door is locked.
100%. Yeah.
So for somebody's door to be open, you begin to wonder what's happening. So you don't even get to see your neighbors to talk with. Like you can live in a place for a year and you never know who is your neighbor. You don't get to meet your neighbor because they are minding their business like that. So there's this loneliness that starts setting in. And I want to play the devil's advocate. I want to be empathetic to somebody who comes here now, maybe picked up at the airport by an agent or a complete stranger or somebody. And imagine where they have had an apartment for you, maybe a student apartment because you're coming as a student, so you have to just get in there and start living there. You're not living with any person. Your loneliness begins from that moment. Or let me say it gets more because it started from the airport, like I said. And it gets more intense from that moment where you get into your small student room. You don't even go outside. If I'm
Yeah.
talking like you, I can barely get a car passing outside. So there's so much that is confined. And that's the highest moment where you're left just with your thoughts. You start thinking, what's happening? What's
Yeah.
going on? Who am I going to talk with?
Yeah.
So this is one of the or just two of the reasons like
And the very shocking aspect is when it now comes to festive seasons, maybe like Christmas, New Year, Easter, or celebrate and all those different festive seasons. Back
Mhm.
home, a lot of joy, 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 joy all over. But here you go to the streets, it's all empty. I have
Yes.
no idea what to do, who to, go to. Some people are even at work on Christmas Day, on New Year Day, they are working, you know. And I remember when I came to Germany at first, um, I think Christmas, I came to my, family in Berlin. And then maybe I went back after Christmas because it was so boring. Even with having family members there, it was still boring.
Yes.
My brother was working that day. My uncle, I don't remember what he was doing, but he definitely did not have time to chill or do anything. It was my first Christmas here. I was like in the room, so just me, you know, just in the room. And even though I imagine me, I have families, brother, cousins, and stuff, but it was too boring. Then how much more an international student who just came, and all you
Yes.
have are just friends. It can be so depressing. The Christmas was so boring. I decided to go back to Lübeck, and hopefully I was gonna have some fun or do something for New Year. But it was the same thing. And then I recall just texting a classmate of mine, a German girl. I don't remember exactly what I texted her, but it was just kind of complaining about not being able to do something or know what to do. She was, and she was like, "Do not condescend." I remember that word.
Mhm.
Do not condescend to something, something. If you want something, then you have to go for it and ask for it. And she meant this in a very honest and, good intention. Like,
Mhm.
don't condescend to self-pity. If you want
Yes.
to do something, then ask, we can do something. But in a very honest and sincere way. And
Yes.
that's the fact. Like, no one cares in a very positive and respectful way about how you feel or what you want. If you need something, you want something, you have to speak out, you have to come out. And I think this is the most shocking aspect when it comes to living abroad, and especially in Europe. Like, you have expectations, that's great, but you have to speak them out. No one is going to pull them out from you. You know, if you want to organize a barbecue or something, if you want to organize a picnic, if you want to have one, you have to organize it. And if someone organizes it and invites you, great. If not, be the organizer. Christmas is coming soon. You've experienced one sad Christmas. You want to do something special. Take the
Mm-hmm.
lead. Ask friends, do something.
Yeah.
Maybe that's actually what led us to having this tradition in the last 5 years or maybe six. Some of my friends, we only meet within that 2, 3 Christmas days. And then the next time is the next year
Ah.
because we know that, okay, this is when we gather and we
Yes.
plan it ourselves. So, and this is one shocking aspect that people need to understand. And this is especially going to those who just recently moved new to Europe, to Germany. Do not condescend to self-pity. This is the reality that you have to wake up to.
Yes.
The reality that you have to wake up to. Um, I just would like to ask Michael, what do you think people expect when it comes here? What do they think about the social life? Because I feel like one confusion is when you see the flashy pictures of people living in Germany or in Europe, you think they are all happy and it's just all sunshine and stuff here.
Yeah, yeah. Since we started this program, I've been able to come to terms with a lot of reality about you guys living abroad. For instance, I was chatting my friend sometime. I would chat him, no response for like 24 hours. I said, I chatted you about for about 24 hours, no response. What kind of a thing is this? Are you trying to form for me? I mean, am I disturbing you? Like I was just looking at like the natural the way we do things back at home here, and I was offended. So he told me, now when he picked the call, where we spoke, he said I have to travel for so hours. I was on duty where I was not allowed to use my phone for so, and after long hours after that, travel back. Then our time zone difference. I left where I am because in same town, or like if you're in Canada, you can be in another town that the time zone is again like about 5 or more hours different. And so maybe the time I am chatting you, you are sleeping, and then by the time you are waking up, I am back to my own bed and stuff like that, and all of these realities. And so it, this knowledge is not giving us the right perspective to be able to manage expectation. I think you said something like expectations and realities. No, maybe when you first entered Europe, we are always talking, but by the time bills started coming in, reality started coming in, you're facing realities, you're becoming more distant. Me, I'm saying it, okay, you don't care abroad now, you don't form for me.
Which is not the case. Which is not the
So,
case.
okay, you are in Europe now you're forming for me. I called you 3 times, you didn't pick. I chatted you, you didn't respond. Not
Yeah.
now, you're forming for me, so I'm not disturbing you. And so there is this gap of balancing these realities, also from home here. So when you went to abroad first, you are sharing pictures of you in very fine locations with me, and we are gisting and all that. By the time the first bill came, second bill came, you're battling with renewing your residency permit and all of these realities. Okay, maybe your first job contract is done, you're not working again, you're living on savings, and landlord is on your neck, there's no I'm coming, and all of these realities. And I'm angry here. This guy, I'm reaching out to him and he's forming for me. So this is just a crisis, Michael.
Mhm.
Yeah.
First of all, when most of you travel there, since that place is lonely, in order to keep yourself warm, you speak with us more. If you want to talk with somebody, you go to your WhatsApp and then we chat, we could spend hours. But when reality start coming again, you have to start paying the bills, your insurance, your health, your utility
Yeah.
bills, and all of those things. You don't even
Yeah.
have the time to chat again. You are battling with your own isolation and loneliness there. You are facing realities.
Mhm.
So, and when I chat you back again, I check
We're having serious network issues there. But
Yeah.
Manila, let's come back to you. What have you seen when it comes to like migrants living in Germany, more specifically? What kind of cases have you seen or heard when it comes to this isolation and loneliness? And do they say why? Um, do they say why? And because I think for me, yeah, living here for a while now, I do know it's something which exists, and I'm proactive about it because I kind of choose my time wisely. But also for me, it's kind of different in the sense that I'm someone who um, I'm like, yeah, I'm building several stuff, several startups at the same time. So I barely have time. It's like I'm just soaked in what I'm doing.
Yes.
So who knows how it evolved into that? I have no idea. But that's where I am today. Um, but that's not necessarily the case for most other people. So I just would like to understand from your perspective, what have you seen? What have you heard? Um, how deep is this? And are people actually conscious of it? Because I think the biggest aspect is being conscious of it. Because otherwise, you think it's happening naturally, but maybe it's happening naturally, but it's more of a cultural theme. So are people aware that this is something cultural and cultural in the sense that that's the lifestyle here, and
Yeah.
for them to understand that they have to be proactive, you know?
Mm.
I believe I understand this for myself, but I don't know if other people understand it.
Yeah. Yes, so Michael, you're right. Your last word when you talked about being proactive, that's the bomb. That's the thing. Nobody will do anything for you.
Yeah,
Nobody will take you out of any situation. So there's no self-pity anywhere.
yeah,
You have to do it for yourself. So you asked about cases that I've seen or many cases that I know. And this is what I could say. The first thing, which is what cuts across almost all of us here in Europe, is about how busy we are. Almost everyone has to be busy. I'm sorry, I'm not even saying almost everyone might be busy. Has to be busy. Like you have to be busy. Yeah, you have to be. I'm sorry. the system, the system has made it in a way that everyone has to be busy. And this is the sense about it. We are busy in different areas, different ways. By the time, for example, I get home, I've realized so many times that 24 hours is small for me, and 7 days of the week is really small for me.
hmm
Yes. I remember when Michael even wanted to put this session, I told Michael, please, not in the morning.
yeah,
You might think it's because I have something to do in the morning. No, it is because Saturday is the only day I might have the opportunity to stay on my bed until after 7. And maybe except another day when I have a holiday. And that is because even at least once in a week, you have a day when you have a mind that is settled. A day that you're not thinking about work, a day that you're not maybe not doing something official. And after this, for Christians, those who are Christians, and I'm saying this, I'm putting myself ahead, and maybe others who are following so that you understand the cases also of men, right? For those who are Christian, after today, what am I going to I might do? If I have an invitation, you find me going for that invitation now to honor the invitation. Or am I go to the grocery shop and I get something and I try to cook for myself because within the week I'll have more time. Tomorrow is Sunday. For who is a Christian, the person will go to church. And by the time you're back, your Sunday is over, and you need to sleep as early as possible because you need to wake up early on Monday and go to work. So if I am coming back from work within the week, I'm looking forward to maybe having a dinner and trying to sleep early
yeah,
in order to wake up the next day.
yeah,
And some of these days when I'm coming back, I have like 5 different letters from 5 different offices waiting for me in my mailbox with deadlines. They don't have the deadlines there. You have to meet up those deadlines. Some of them
yeah,
have to do with hundreds of euros you have to pay. So if you look at all of those circumstances, you have to dwell in self-pity. Nobody will help you because as you're worried, others are also worried.
hmm
Your bills might be 100 euro, another person's one will be 1,000 euro or more.
yep, yeah,
We just different levels of those things. So you have to spend this busy, so you don't get to meet people. I want us to look at this being alone or being lonely from another angle. So you
hmm
really get to meet people. You spend many months being on your own and you barely meet people, especially for those who might not be going to church. They might not belong to any community. They might not belong to any social group. They don't get to meet friends. These are
Yeah.
some of the things happening. Now, another important aspect that I want us to also look at is the kind of community you find yourself in as a foreigner here in Germany. So if you come here as a Nigerian, for example, and you're the kind of person who tell yourself, I don't mix. I don't know if you say that in Nigerian pidgin. In Cameroon pidgin, you say, I know the mix.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes. I'm on my lane.
Abuse.
So, yes, you hear some people say, I don't like all those African associations.
Yeah.
You hear some people say, I don't want to join all those Cameroonian associations. You hear,
Yeah.
no, I don't want to be part of those Igbo people. Igbo people have the way they do things. I don't just like to be part of them.
Yeah.
You know?
100%. Yeah.
Yes. So when you come here and you give yourself that mindset, that background, and you
Yeah.
don't join those people, which is not as if there's a law somewhere that you have to join, but I'm just trying to describe another person's kind of lifestyle. So you barely have more friends, and maybe you barely have invitations.
Abi, you've already
You've
restricted
already limited
yourself.
yourself. I mean, the
Yeah.
society is already limiting, so you've already limited yourself.
Father.
Very
Yeah.
much. So some people who are fan of saying that they want to make friends only with white people. I'm saying this because Echo Michael, I don't know if I should call you Echo, like just give a nod if it's okay with you, so that I can
Sure. Yeah.
differentiate.
Please. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
Yes, so I'm saying this like this is some of the limitations some people already give themselves. You come to a society that is already limiting by nature, and you add another limitation to yourself. So some people say they want to be friends only with white people because they think white people are honest. You know, sometimes we call this pick me. There's this new English word now, right? Pick me. You want to play with me. You want to be the best, the last good African standing among all other Africans. So every other African is bad except you. You
Abi.
now push yourself and you say, I want to be friends only with white people because they're trustworthy. And also when there are invitations, once in a while when they have invitations, they expect you to come and spend, bro. I have my birthday, you're coming to spend. So if you have the money to go spend, fine. You have time, you go have beer with those people you spend on their
Yeah.
birthday, yet you want taking care of yourselves. I'm also talking about this so that we can handle cultural differences.
Of course. Yeah.
So when you look at these things and with these limitations, you don't find yourself going out to even meet people because you've already limited yourself. I don't like those associations. So you don't even hear about the parties, you don't hear about vacations, you don't have news about social gatherings. You don't get to meet people. So even for people who are planning to get married, you don't get to meet a spouse like that. That's one thing. The community you choose to find yourself in, and the people you choose to operate or interact with. The other point that I want to quickly touch is also when you have trust issues. Trust issues. When you're coming here, you have people already give you advice. So you come and meet some people already start telling you, oh, don't trust people here. Everything. I usually don't get this at all. Honestly, in as much as I do understand and I agree that people do switch and people do change, I also think sometimes we get to exaggerate this. You cannot be the only trustworthy human being who actually came to Europe. And you think every other person who appeared in Germany, I mean, you suddenly became a problem. You
Yeah.
cannot trust these people because these people are not to be trusted. Before you come, you already have friends who are advising you when you come here, don't trust people. Nobody is to be trusted. Everything is about self-interest. So you need to mind it. So the picture you draw in your mind or you paint in your mind, even before coming to Germany, is a picture that is supposed to be owned by somebody who is equipped by distrust for others. So you already exercise this when you come here. And even when you have the least opportunity to meet few people out there, you deal with people with a lot of distance, you know? Back home, we say you eat with people, you eat with people with a long spoon. I eat with you, but with a long spoon. So if you look at the meanings that I operate with you, then from a distance, with this mindset, people will see you out there, but they have no idea what's going on through your mind. Because the loneliness deals with you physically, it deals with you mentally. You will begin to ask yourself, why do people not invite you? Why do people not get to chat with you? Why do people not get to communicate with you? What you forget to know is the distance that you've given, the barrier, the mental barrier, and the physical barrier you've given others. And as you give people these things, people barely have time here. People are just trying to cope with a
Yeah.
small time they have. And if I think that Michael, as an African brother, is somebody I can operate with in Germany, and I'm trying to squeeze a little time out of my Saturday that I barely have, and I want to operate with Michael, but I discovered that he has some distance that he might think I'm not noticing, but I don't notice. Come on, trust me. Why will I stay there trying to push to him when I can also try to get to other people?
Yeah.
So people also give you the distance you're trying to give them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so those are some of the points I could touch for now.
Yeah.
Regarding your question.
Yeah. No, I hope people really will understand this. I think if there's one big lesson that we have to learn is just waking up to reality and wake up as fast as possible. Like
Yeah.
just wake up as fast as possible. A lot of things that are like unspoken rules, people are not told about it. But
Yes.
you learn this over time and you really have to catch up fast. I do have one more point from my side again, and then maybe we just go back to Nigeria, Africa from my own side.
Okay.
Um, because since the issue we're talking about here is something that affects people already living abroad, and I genuinely feel like you and I, we've lived here long enough that we can share some valuable experience. Um, may not work for everybody, but hopefully you could learn one or two things. Um, now, if I wanted to connect 2 points here, now understanding that this is something that one has to be conscious about and then be proactive. But in general, considering the lifestyle here and how busy people can really get, what do you think would be those micro habits that people should just begin to develop such that they can naturally also adapt to the society in a very positive way? Adapting not meaning, oh, it's a lonely society, so I stay lonely. No, adapting in the sense that you remember who you know the kind of community you used to have back home and how joyful things are, and that you're able to still kind of replicate that. Because one big issue I see here, I see with myself, um, I get impatient quite fast because I feel like you're wasting my time. Just go straight to the point, you know. Um, and this is all happening because, yeah, how you're used to things here and stuff, you know. So, um, just trying to see that hey, one does not lose touch completely because I think Africa and Nigeria and Cameroon, it's a very joyful society, regardless of all the political situations. But when it comes back to the everyday people, one on one, people are genuinely happy,
Yeah.
you know, and we should not lose that happiness. We shouldn't lose that touch here. It's something that I genuinely believe it's a gift. Because regardless of how bad things are, people still find a way to rejoice. But
Mm.
rather here, it's like because of all this stress and the business, like you mentioned, the default mode is just to be angry. The default mode is just to be confrontational. The default mode is just to more or less just be hopeless and complain all day long and stuff. So I'd like to understand from you, what do you think are some micro habits that we could just develop, that we don't lose touch of our roots, that we don't lose touch of, I genuinely feel the gifts that we have, that we can still be joyous, we can still be happy, regardless of how the society is, that we just have these micro habits and still live happily ever after in Germany or in Europe or wherever we find ourselves.
Mm. Yeah, Michael, I think you even already directly or indirectly touched this macro habit, like trying to replicate or trying to mimic what we do back home.
Mm-hmm.
It is really a habit to belong to small communities back home. It will be rare to really see somebody back home who is not part of a small community somewhere.
Yeah.
Even if it means 5 women coming together to create a group where they want to meet on a weekly basis, even if it means 5 men coming. I hear now a lot about veteran groups. I hear those things. And some of those things are also happening here. It's not like they're not happening. So I could say that it is not a law somewhere. It's not written. It's not unwritten. It's nothing. But just like a solution, you could find yourself wanting to belong to some of those kind of groups, just to keep yourself busy and informed and connected to people. Maybe people of the same cultural background with you. Maybe just people, because it's the society, it's the world, and we just want to be social. And if you don't even want to join some of these groups, what about also making more friends and also trying to meet out more, go out more? I'm saying this, and I'm also saying this to myself. I'm saying this to myself because the society, the community has made it in such a way that we are so comfortable with ourselves. We are so, because I am that believer of there's no self-pity. I believe this a lot. There's no self-pity. But I do it in a way that I can even go beyond boundaries. Because guess what? I could be so satisfied with my apartment. I could be in my apartment alone forever and ever because I have many things to entertain myself that, like I said, 24 hours is small for me. And when I talk about 24 hours, it's not just about my official job. It's about me having a page that I have to communicate with people. It's about me having a lot that I could sit in my apartment to do. And just to just for fun, when I was a student, I remember some years when I was a student living in a student apartment. The apartment was in such a way that we had shared kitchens. You could share the kitchen space with other neighbors, with a few other neighbors like that. I had this Cameroonian guy who moved in next door to me. Like he was just next door. And there was a day this guy knocked at my door. And when I opened, I thought he wanted something. And then he snuck his head into my apartment. And then he laughed. I'm like, so what's going on? What? He said, no, I just wanted to check if you have a kitchen in this your apartment inside here because you have a kitchen here that I don't know. I'm like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
So where do you cook?
Mm-hmm.
When do you go to work or when do you go to school? I don't see you. You're just next door. I don't see you. But this is it. Then I used to have a habit that when I get to the kitchen on weekends, I cook a lot. Like I get there at 11 in the morning, I leave at 11 p.m. because I'm cooking so many things. I keep in the fridge that is inside my apartment. I have a microwave inside there. When I come back from work, I open my door, I get in, I lock it. I'm on my phone watching one comedy, laughing. By then, I didn't have a page. I'm laughing, I'm eating, I'm on my bed, and I don't even want somebody to knock. I don't even want someone to knock because it's going to disturb the few hours I have to relax. So that's why I said when I say this, I'm saying this to myself too. But in as much as it's okay, the social media, we're communicating, it's fine. But those are virtual people. Until you get to meet people one-on-one, and we need this. We cannot take this away. So we shouldn't fear this time. When somebody say they want to invite me, I fear. Honestly. I'm like, when am I going to shower? Wear a shoe and be going out? I want to stay at home. I want to stay at home. So we need to get out of this shell, interact with people, meet people more often, and get to talk. Stop mistrusting people. From my side, it's not about distrust. It's just about me wanting to just be home by myself. So I think you already mentioned this, Michael, and this is some of the things we need to do in order to interact, get out of a shell, know that no, there's no self-pity, entertain yourself when there are no people around, and you have the opportunity, meet people, talk to people, communicate, check on people. Do not think it's someone's responsibility to check on you. check on people, keep this
Yeah.
communication with people going. The number of Cameroonians recently that have been found in their rooms early in the morning, it's becoming alarming so far in the diaspora. Really alarming. You don't know what someone is going through. It could be depression. It could be that somebody has been murdered. It could be anything. So putting on this habit about checking on people, they will also get to check back on you. It's very
100%.
important. Yes, it's
100%.
really very important for us.
Yeah. No, no. Michael, I will let you take it up from here, please. We can't hear you. You're muted.
Yeah, I just had to unmute. Yeah. So Emmanuel has done so well. Thank you so much. It's been very insightful. She just said it. Social media can be deceptive. It cannot be your support system. If you are
No.
sick, social media won't ask you, "Are you okay now?" Social media won't check up on you. If you are depressed, social media won't help with that. You can be laughing with comedy videos and all that, but it doesn't take the place of all those support system, physical presence, and all that. So as she said it, reach out. Don't just wait for people to reach out to you. I think she's done so much justice to that. There's just nothing to add. And it's good that we are bringing these things into perspective. Yeah, I also know from findings that, like she said, long hours of work and the demands, economic pressure, financial pressure, both uh, there in Europe and also from back at home and all that. So, but then you have to take care of yourself, like Michael said. Take yourself seriously. Don't just make it a habit or like accept it. This is the way things are here. You can be in Europe and still create Africa in Europe, like those from Asia do. They build a strong enough cultural infrastructure and then the community support system that they are still able to live their lives in England, in Germany as Indians. So we can also
Mhm.
try to do that by, like you said, forming groups that will reach out and look out for each other and then enjoy ourselves. If they're having a festival that is for Cameroonians, you can replicate one in Germany or wherever you're living. If there's a festival for Nigerians that they do like the Salah, you can do it the way that it is done in Nigeria, still in Europe. Sometimes you can also invite your artists to come and sing for you, and you can transport Africa to Europe and still enjoy yourself, even
Yeah.
amidst all the stress.
Mm.
That's all for me, Michael.
I want to throw one question to the two of you. Um, how would you guys compare? What do you think? It's how would you compare the social life in North America, so the US precisely, and in Europe? Why I'm asking this is because of the point that you made, Michael, about
Yeah,
just exporting Africa into Europe. I think
yeah,
it's very easy to feel that in the US, because it's so diverse, right? Culturally, the people and all.
yeah.
It's probably not necessarily the case in Europe, and that's making me to think: how are we going to compare isolation and loneliness in Europe versus in the USA? Do you guys have uh, some ideas on that?
Okay, listen, maybe if I can go first. I was discussing with a friend just within the week, and he was saying even from the way that houses are built in America, it is built. You if you come to the room, it's so big and everything is like Africa. Their lifestyle somehow is like Africa, but if you go to Europe, everything is streamlined, even from the room size to everything is like
Yeah.
measured. So I think it's basically the stuff. So they are very conservative in Europe, but whereas in America, once you can make your money, it is just like that. So it is what it is. So it's
Uh,
about the culture and I mean I don't just know how it works anyway. I don't even know. I don't know what you have to say about that.
Okay, I've not been to the US, but I've had so many friends in the US. And this is what I can say. I think, Uncle Michael, you said something about even the way the houses are built, which I could agree even looking at the videos, right? That even they have enough space. They just have enough space. And you're right, our houses here are measured. It seems even in Germany you cannot go beyond a certain size because the government has to check everything and everything is checked and everything is checked like that. Also, if we want to look at pictures and videos, we would think Americans are just having it all. But I have learned my lesson. And the lesson I learned is moving from Cameroon to Germany. Expectations versus reality. When I was in Cameroon and I was also looking at pictures, people in Europe, I was like, wow, these people are having it on. But I came to realize that you have to be there to understand exactly what is actually going on. You could literally be seeing pictures and videos of people who are just having that opportunity, the opportunity we said now, create just the opportunity. And that's why they are having a time. But they also get to work. I'm talking about America, for example, and they get to work. And from what I have known and I have learned, in America, you can work and work and work and work with no limitations. You just work and keep working. But in Europe here, they limit you with the kind of taxes you pay. In Germany in particular, bro, you might want to work 50 jobs, but nobody's giving you that chance to work 50 jobs. Because you will pay that money back into the insurance. The insurance will tell you you're putting your money at risk by working like that. So there is a limitation. When we also look at cultural differences, Americans might believe in parties, right? But in Europe here, we don't believe so much in parties. We believe in traveling and vacation. Because that is the kind of culture we've met here, and we are consciously or unconsciously following the culture. So
Yeah.
you see people working here, when they talk about they were looking forward to a vacation, and it's about traveling. So for me too, when I see sometimes when I've not moved out of Germany, it's like, what's happening? I need to travel, I need to get out of Germany. So you see someone will take the family, they will go somewhere, maybe by the beach, a house by the beach, and they have the time of their life. That's what they believe about having life. So the community life you run here in Europe or in Germany is kind of limited or more concentrated to the family inclined. And maybe that's why people who are not family or they're not married, they don't have kids, maybe they feel it more. But in the US, we get to see, especially with the community, because it's culturally diverse, we see a lot of them, there's party, they're throwing parties like that and all over the place. Here, throw your party. Before 9 o'clock last week, I was in a party, and by 9 o'clock, the neighbor had called the police. Yes, it wasn't 10. They're supposed to call the police by 10. But that never called the police by 9. And the police was already outside. That was a word we use it, not even somebody's house. The police was already questioning the host outside. What's happening? Why are you people? When are you people going to end the party? The neighbor is complaining. And guess what? We had to be sweating in that party because we had to close the door now. We had to lock the door so that we will not disturb the neighbor. So the culture is just different.
Maybe we should all just move to America, and be happy and be happy after all, especially with Trump and all the restructuring he's doing there. It's just the best time ever.
Yeah. Okay. And
Yeah.
maybe, Michael, maybe we can dive deeper into this America versus Europe in one of these sessions.
Yeah, it would be interesting because it's like a lot of us here, we're kind of trapped here. We know that it could be different elsewhere, but for
Yeah.
some reason, we just keep staying rooted here, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Just keep
Yeah.
staying rooted here. That's crazy. Anyways,
yeah.
guys,
Yeah.
it's already an hour now. We usually keep our live streams to 30 minutes, but somehow today we got really deep in it. Um, Thanks to everyone who's watching from the various media platforms, LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. This is Emmanuella joining us live from Germany and myself. Yay! And my co-host from Nigeria as well. Today we talked about isolation, and frankly speaking, we could not exhaust this topic. But I think for me, the bottom line is be proactive. It's
Mm,
real. It's happening. Um, it's the default status of the society, and the key reason is because we don't really have a deep understanding of how the society is built. For kids who are born here, I think they have a completely different experience. But for us, mostly that
mm,
move here as adults, it's like
yeah.
starting all over. So it's something that it's there, and you have to be aware of it. Yeah. So that's all I have to say before we wrap it up. So then, Emanuela, maybe we can have the last words from you. and then we can wrap it up for the session today.
Okay, Maka, thank you. I just want to thank you for this opportunity for us to have this discussion. It's a very important discussion. Even whether you're in Africa, whether in Europe, it's very important for us to have this discussion because social interaction is really what limits, to a greater extent, it limits depression. And
Yeah.
I will be wrapping up with saying that even depression is a word I learned about it when I came to Europe. I didn't know the word depression in Africa or at home because how many times do we really hear that people are depressed? Of course, we've been hearing people committing suicide. That was depression, but we didn't know because it's not a common thing. But when we get to socially interact, it's very important we have this discussion now, especially for those who are in the diaspora or who are here in the diaspora, because it limits to a greater extent depression. Winter is coming, and I'm talking to my fellow diasporans. Winter is coming. If we have a way of doing it differently this year, it's going to help us. More people are suicidal in winter because just outside is crazy already.
Mm-hmm.
And imagine it's dark outside, it's cold outside, and you're inside alone, and you want to wander in self-pity, then you're leading yourself to depression.
Yeah.
Sometimes we cannot control this, but we need to have discussions like this so that
Yeah.
we have a reawakening to know that it's very necessary for us to communicate and socialize, check on people. That will keep saying this, check on people so that people can also check on you. So I'm very happy, Michael, that we were able to have this particular topic today, so that as people are learning from it, those of us who are in the diaspora, when we talk, we want to also learn from it because we speak first to ourselves before to any other person who is listening to us. And also those back home, they now have an idea of what to expect when they get here. So don't think it's all rosy. Prepare yourself mentally and all of that. And also, please don't disappoint us, those of you who are back home. Don't even try to watch the kind of lifestyle that is happening in the diaspora that people are trying to do out in Berlin and you think you want to copy it back in Africa. Never change Africa for what it is. You have no idea. You have no idea the luxury you're actually experiencing until you leave that atmosphere. So once again, thank you, and looking forward to next time if there is one.
Sure. 100%. 100%. Michael, any final words from you?
Yeah, she said, winter is coming and all the realities that come with that because long hours of cold nights and all that, and you having to be alone and all the reality. So reach out. You just can't stay out to yourself. Social media won't do it all for you. Reach out to people. Thank you so much, Michael.
Winter is coming. That's key. That's deep. Winter is coming. It's gonna be cold, dark, not the best weather.
Yeah.
Yo, winter is coming.
And
I
Michael,
think
you
that
cannot complain. Michael, you cannot complain about winter.
exactly. That's a good topic for another time. Winter is coming. Be prepared.
Winter
It's
is
not for the
coming.
cold, but every other thing else that winter comes
Yeah.
with. It's not
Yeah.
funny. It's funny. All right, guys. Thank you so much. I wish you all a nice weekend. So everyone who's watching, thank you so much for joining. I can see so many people from different platforms. We appreciate you so much. Oh, by the way, this was brought to you by Settling, the platform that we are building to help you be informed about migration before you make that move. So if you're not on Settling, please go sign up on Settling. Make a post and be prepared for winter. It's coming. All right, cheers, everyone.